What is Sparta and how do you use it? Coming up right now. What is Sparta? Sparta is a Python GUI application which simplifies network infrastructure penetration testing by aiding the penetration tester in the scanning and enumeration phase. It allows the tester to save time by having a point-and-click access to his toolkit and by displaying all tool output in a convenient way. If little time is spent setting up command and tools, more time can be spent focusing on analyzing results. So some of the features of Sparta is it allows you to run nmap from Sparta, or you can import nmap XML output. It has transparent staged nmap scans. This allows you to get results quickly and achieve thorough coverage. It has configurable context menus for each service. This allows you to configure what to run on discovered services. This means you can set up any tool that can be run from a terminal, can be run from Sparta. You can run any script or tool on a service across all hosts in a scope, just with the click of a mouse. You can define automated tasks for services, such as run Nikto on every HTTP service. It also allows you to run default credential checks for most common services, and this can be configured. You can identify password reuse on the tested infrastructure. This allows you to check if any username or passwords are found by Hydra, and then they are stored in an internal word list, which can then be used on other targets in the same network. It allows the ability to mark hosts that you've already worked on so that you don't waste time looking at them again. And it also allows website screenshot takers so that you don't waste time on less interesting web services. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Sparta and start playing with it. So there's a few ways you can open up Sparta. You can go to Applications in Kali, go to Information Gathering, and you will find Sparta under the Information Gathering section. You can also load it by simply typing Sparta from a command prompt. Now, if you don't have it installed, simply apt install Sparta and it will install Sparta for you. So the first thing you want to do is add a host to scan. So you can double click in the host list and add your IP or add an IP range. So you can scan for multiple systems. So in this instance, I have a server set up at 133. I'm going to add this to the scope for scanning. So I'll click add to scope. And as you can see, Sparta has started an nmap scan. Now you can see Sparta going through multiple stages of nmap scans. And once it found a HTTP server, it automatically started a Nikto scan. And it also took a screenshot of that web server. So here are the results from the Nikto scan. As you can see, it's going through and testing multiple vulnerabilities and information gathering techniques. And here is a screenshot of the web service. As you can see, this server is running Metasploitable 2. Not only that, it found a SMTP server and it began to enumerate user accounts. This all happened automatically. And in a moment, I'm going to show you how you can configure what happens when Sparta finds specific services. But in this instance, you can see we found several user accounts on this system by enumerating the SMTP server. Not only that, it found a MySQL server, and then in this instance, it also found login credentials. In this instance, we also found login credentials for the Postgres server. And let's see what else it automatically scanned for. We found an FTP service. And here we found some credentials for the FTP service. We also found an FTP service on 2121. However, no valid credentials were found, but we did discover a service on this port, which is helpful. We were not able to grab a screenshot from the X11 connection. And here's the Nikto results on the second web service that we found on 8180. And the screenshot from that web service shows that it is the Tomcat service. So as you can see, Sparta does a lot for you automatically. To do this by hand would take some time. Under the Services tab, you can see all the services that Sparta was able to locate. The first one is the FTP service. It found an SSH service. This box also has Telnet set up. We got SMTP on 25, DNS, so on and so forth. So here you can see all these services that were found through our nmap scans. Now for each of these services, you can select one and then right click and you will see you will have options. Now these options will change depending on the service that you are reviewing. So for example, I get different options for SSH than I do for an FTP server. So depending on the service that you are looking at, you will have different context menus. And you can also add your own options into here by editing the Sparta config file. And I'll show you where that is in just a moment. So let's say that we have this HTTP server and we want to try to find additional directories on that service. We can simply select Launch Dirbuster. And as you can see down here, the process starts and Dirbuster opens, giving us the option to now run the Dirbuster on the HTTP service. So from here, you'd simply select your options, click Start, and then begin the scan. And then Sparta will keep track of any services or rather directories that were found. And you can do this for any service that has these options. For example, on SMB, you can run MBT scan. Now over here on the left, you will have all the hosts that were in your scope. In this instance, we just scanned one server, so we only have one host in this list. Next is the Services tab, which will show all the services that were found for all systems in the scope. So you can see we have the host, which is the IP address, the port of the current service, the protocol, state, so on. And you can see we can click through. However, if we had multiple systems, you could see multiple listings. For example, this server has 2 web servers running. So when we select HTTP, we will see all the hosts that are running the HTTP service. So this will give you a good kind of like overview of all the servers that are running a specific service. Similar on the Tools tab, this will give you the option to run or review the output from specific tools that were automatically ran on specific services. And again, this gives you an overhead view so you can see, okay, what are all these systems that had FTP set up? And then this will allow you to browse through the results for all the hosts. So these tabs are very useful when you're scanning multiple systems on a network. Now, once you have completed your scanning and enumeration, you can then go to File, Save As, and save all your results as a Sparta project file. That way you can open up the results and review them at a later time without having to rescan the network. Also here you have a Brute tab, which allows you to do any sort of brute forcing or dictionary attacks on any specific services. So as you can see, here are all these services that you can attack. You would simply select your service, make your options, set up either a static username and password or use a username and password list, set the number of threads, and then run the attack, and then any results will be saved. And that's the basics of using Sparta. So now I'm going to show you how you can configure Sparta. So from a command prompt, go ahead and open up Sparta, etsy-sparta.conf for the configuration file. And then this is a configuration for file for Sparta, and inside here is where you'll find all of the various configuration options. Each section is named. So you see you have your general settings. This is for all your brute settings. And you can see all the services. So you can add, you can take services away, you can customize this to exactly how you would prefer. If you want to change the staged nmap scans, you can do so here. So maybe you want to add additional ports to the first level scan. Well, you can simply just add that here. Here are your tool settings. So if you want to add additional tools to Sparta, it's very simple to just add in new tools. And here are your nmap scans. Here are all the context menu options that you have available on specific services. And you can simply add in any tools that you would like to use or take them away if you don't want them. And that is it for the Sparta configuration file. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, go ahead, click that subscribe button and tap that bell. And remember, I will see you on the other side.